Sahi Salamat Aaye. So the Guru says this was an indication to me that I had returned home, safe and unharmed. Now, Santokha Bhaya Sansare, now contentment filled my worldly existence. Gurupura Le Tare, the perfect Guru, perfection, was my ferry carrying me across the ocean of existence. So to return home safely and unharmed, Ghar Sahi Salamat Aaye, is essentially to return to one's true identity, which is what? It is an inner sanctuary for sure, but it is a sanctuary that is nothing but pure awareness. When I say pure awareness, I mean it's free from any kind of identification, because that is what ego identification is, or ego consciousness is. It's constantly identified with images of its own making, with the outer turmoil of conflicting desires. So returning home, Kar, we spoke about it as a haven. And so it is a metaphor for this inner state, pure awareness, where there is really nothing to stain it or to soil it. Nirmal. So this is about centering the mind by shifting one's attention. And this is an actual state of realization. It's not just some intellectual understanding. You're in the flow. You're in harmony. So now, in the Rahau, the Guru is speaking to fellow seekers. Santo, listen, my brethren, he is saying. Prabh mera sada-de Allah, my beloved, the Prabh is ever compassionate. That's its nature. Apne bhagat ki, of its devotees, ganat na ganaya, there is no accounting of their flaws. There is no measuring of debt for those who are Bhagat's devotees. They are protected. Rakhe Bal Gopala. They are protected. And the word Bal Gopala is very significant. Bal Gopala is actually an epithet for Krishna, but what it means is that the self is very childlike, that it takes care of you instinctively, not through any calculation, and nurtures us very tenderly, because the child is tender. So what is being said here is that there is really no cosmic ledger. There's no transactional judgment going on, no moral bookkeeping. For those who are imbued with devotion, that's the condition. There's no accounting for them. Why? Not because they are flawless, but because they're authentic in their surrender. So you see, the ego mind is actually writing its own transactional ledger. Its orientation is off. So you need to shift your orientation to one of acceptance. And Bal Gopala, as we've said, a child instinctively protects what he loves, not out of analysis, but innocence, intimacy. So the self is intimate, it's tender, it's uncalculating, it is not far away, nor is it punitive, nor is it scorekeeping. We have to bear that in mind. This is a very insightful lesson for us, because a lot of us are simply terrified of the idea that there is some sort of a debt to be paid or incurred. And as we saw earlier, the debt is really created by ourselves. We are the ones writing that ledger, not the self. So if you want to erase that ledger, Just shift your orientation to that state of pure awareness. In conclusion, Haranam Ridai Dhiae, because if you recall, in the first verse, enshrined in the heart is that wisdom. So what is the effect? Haranam Ridai Dhiae. By enshrining that wisdom in my heart, I was saved. Dhiae means I grew, I blossomed. Then a-sabad-a-day. Thok means wholesale, capital. All my needs were beautifully fulfilled. Guru Pura Tusadiya, again, the Guru, who is compassionate, has given this to me out of love. Tusadiya, tus means to love. Guru Pura Tusadiya. So this is a gift of love. Fir Nanak dukh na thiya. Then Nanak suffers no more. So the Sabad, like the previous one, speaks about the haven within, the inner sanctuary, where you're anchored in pure awareness, which is the divine. So it begins, the inward journey begins with contemplation, with shifting your attention, lining up with Gurbani, and it ends with liberation from worldly suffering. And we see we don't need to fear that the self or the Prabh is some sort of a strict accountant or a shopkeeper. He's an artist. He's a lover, a divine lover. So look at that divine as a lover. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.